It does feel like I'm stacking something together all the time. It will never end. Because I want it to be perfect. And that's what motivates me to do these videos. Absolute bliss. To never reach perfection. That's, I can't quite fly to the sun right now. I'm sorry. I can't convince every cell in my body to fly right now. Yeah, I can't. If you wanted a superpower like flight, please convince the entire world why you should have it. You know, maybe someone else wants it too. And that's the weirdest thing about life, potentially. That if someone wants something, you can't have it anymore. So you feel it deep in your heart. If someone has a girlfriend, you can test that girlfriend. You can poke her. There's things that you can do, but you can probably never steal her heart if she's taken. And successfully taken. And you can feel all those things. You can feel intrusion in other people's lives based on how you define yourself as a human being as well. Because we all define ourselves as human beings. We all fuck with each other, basically. We're all attracted to each other as well. And it's a weird game. Sorry, I just drank a bunch of shitty tea with particles and stuff attacking my throat. God damn it. I can never get rid of tier list. Trying to explain everything for myself. It's the best thing ever. There's just 4 and they're super pretty. Okay? You still need to know why there's only 4. This is bad. This is decent. This is good. And this is perfect. Those are the 4 tiers. Bad, but it still exists. It still holds effort, right? Decent, because you protect it. You don't let it fade away. You keep it within reality boundaries. You know, what reality wants from you, do it. Decent. You're finally figuring things out. Good, because you're good. You understand that good is good. It's the G. It's the understanding of God itself. It's very deep. Because motivation is very difficult to reach. Which is there. Motivation to do things. It's absolutely crippling if you do it too early. But it's the best feeling to have. To pinch yourself that you truly exist in a certain way. And then perfection breeds your stupid lightning bolt thingy. Not Harry Potter thingy, but it's just something we're gonna use temporarily. To remind that you can be brought down to your knees by certain people. Not motivated, demotivated entirely. And just in order to accept a new form of life. Just be completely re-educated for the sake of living a different life now. Having different priorities now. Completely. It's no longer motivation. It's absolute brutal destruction of your life or a change in your life. Basically, it's about earning ultimate respect. Like, absolute. Imagine a celebrity comes to your life and is demands respect. You're probably gonna give it to them, and if they're very, very good, they're never gonna stop. And they're gonna establish themselves as like a piece of you. And I hope they make your life better that way. You know, who knows? Yeah, when it comes to tier 5, it will completely obliterate you if you try and think about it, I believe. Maybe it exists, maybe it doesn't. Let's not think about it, because holy shit, I can barely handle 4 tiers. They all have their symbolism of time as well, of what's most relevant. So, it's all recapped from the previous episode, but hey, and from a lot of work that I've done in general, right? It goes deep, 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 stacks very easily, super nice, and it is kind of like that. You kind of have to prepare yourself for the full package of experience if you truly ready for it. And I think people are. I don't think I'm too disappointed in people in general, except maybe my mom. No, I don't know. I honestly don't know. It's too hard to judge things, I think, at this point. I think judging is something that only these losers do. Because they're bad. They're just trying things that are already decided to be bad. But they don't know. Life is incredibly difficult. You almost have to wake up and work every single day of your life. But not quite. You cannot just define what work is. You have to figure that out as well as you go. You can't let anyone define what work is. You can't let anyone own you. And especially money. Shouldn't be owned by money either. Should know exactly what kind of resources to get and how to do it. And money's just a poor man's game. If you think you need something, you can buy it. But are you sure? And how are you going to keep money as well? You need to learn how to invest, potentially? I don't even know. I don't even care, though. Because life is more than that. It's not about fucking failing to do something. You will always find a solution eventually. But you have to keep waking up and like keep putting effort. And you cannot give up on life because like potentially it's pretty fragile too. That's a big question. How fragile is life? I've been sober my entire life. And I don't feel strong. But I now do feel better than other people. And that's the only judgment that you can actually make. So which tier does a person belong to? Based on their behavior. And that's all you have, is behavior. People want to fuck with you with their claims of what the roles they play, what titles they have. That is just a claim. It's the behavior that matters. Because the behavior is what enters your point of view. Unless you trick yourself and whenever you see something, you believe it immediately. That's not good enough. But most importantly, it's not good enough to say that Earth is round and that's what makes Earth round. Fuck you, science, okay? Science comes up with things to say, basically. But it never really proves those things. Because in order to prove it, you don't just prove it to yourself, you prove it in general, with common sense, logic. That's what I'm doing all the time. It looks like third-grade science, but that's why I need it. It has to be already installed in your brain, somewhat like a common sense knowledge, just something that I can use in order to communicate. Otherwise, I have nothing. I have to capture your interest too. I have to capture basic instincts as well as myself, and I have to keep it simple so we can move forward without worries. You know, if we can actually move forward with third grade science, holy shit, maybe we don't need the actually complicated bullshit that other people deal with, because they have nothing better to do. Again, you must understand that regardless what the world has to offer, it doesn't mean that you can keep up with that or replace it with your own creation. You might have to give up and actually use it, but sometimes, again, just like with science or certain beliefs or like money, there's certain systems that you can actually afford to ignore completely. And you have to focus on something else that matters a little bit more and kind of looks similar, but it's not that at all. It's not that at all. Saying logic, it has nothing to do with science. And saying survivalism and interactions, successful interactions with people, has nothing to do with money. Even if they offer you money or demand money from you, you have to look past that point. Once you understand money is trust, and money is unfulfilled need of something. So if you feel the need of money, you don't actually feel the need of money. You just have to plan your future through, and then you understand where that money kind of falls into. What kind of problems it's going to try and solve. Money is like a multi-tool problem solver. Whenever you need it, you can grab it for yourself and solve something. But it's, it's quite simple, but it's not money. Money is not money. Unless you live in a stupid world where you allow things to be undefined. You just have some savings that will solve your problems. Now, the problem of food entangled in money, that's a way bigger issue. That's like a trend issue. Why is this a thing? Well, why is this a thing for such a long time? We have been struggling with food for a long time. At some point, we're going to realize, we can just lift that off our shoulders quite easily and just let people fucking eat stuff for free. What a big deal. That's the greatest government bailout ever. Just free food. And it's easy access to free food too. Now, why create all these welfare systems and all that fucking crap? Just give free food. Free shelter too. Potentially. And if someone can handle having a free shelter, then they're gonna get kicked out. It's quite simple. Kicked out for a little while as well, potentially, until it's cleaned up, until the person shows guilt and ability to change. Then you can probably put them in a hospital. This, like fucking crazy. Well, the system right now we have. But it's almost like we live in a shortage of something. We live in a war period. We live separately from everyone. Nobody wants to communicate and collaborate. Terrifying. Everyone wants to rip off each other. There's no satisfaction. There's no I want to earn this much amount of money. This is how much I'm earning. I need to know how much you guys are earning. Every single one of you guys. I need to know. I live with my mom, so I'm not gonna tell you how much I'm earning. I'm sorry. I earn enough to maybe have food that will sustain my life, my existence. And that's about it. Thank you very much. And it doesn't matter where my mom gets the money, because she did all the work. She's probably just fading away and like replaced herself with me in terms of who gets to live and who gets to die. It's just sometimes that happens through and through, but you never know. It's like when my mom is like, oh, you're now completely independent, I can just go, because life sucks a lot of the time. When you're clueless, when you have done everything you wanted to do, life starts to suck quite a bit. But when you're not quite sure, you still linger slowly into death. So there's so many definitions. There's so many things. Science is trying to explain its own asshole at this point. It zooms in into its own asshole and tries to explain that. And why it stings so bad. It's ridiculous what people do. But I'm away from that now. I'm done. I'm gonna vomit on these people if they show up ever in my life. I have never subscribed or followed a science channel. Those just fall into the deep holes of no, basically. It's very simple. It's not knowledge. It's not knowledge or whatever. No, it's just no. Get out of here. It's unbelievable. Science is boring. Science potentially just steals things as well from technology and calls it science. It's like, no, it's just you stole technology and now you're observing things with technology, but that makes nothing. You're potentially just consuming digital drugs without realizing. When you're making logical conclusions based on observations, you have to use experience to make logical conclusions, not observations. I'm observing my mom is laying down on her bed. Okay, what does that mean? Does that give me experience of any kind, by the way? What is my goal anyways? But science wants to observe everything and anything. It doesn't have a goal. And it sounds pretty good, right? It sounds pretty good. Because it's not going to be unbiased. Well, it doesn't have a goal until it does. It's like, hey, government shows up. Hey, observe this thing for me. What does that mean? And the science is like, oh my god, that's a virus. That is harmful to your human body, I think. Because I'm observing right now, you see one thing, but it doesn't mean that the logical conclusion is that actually it's a virus and it's harmful to your body or something. You can't just jump into that conclusion with observation. You can only jump to conclusion with experience, where something happens, then you experience something. Oh no, it's a bad experience. It's just you can't do it with observation. It's unbelievable. Science uses observation to make conclusions. Wow, so disgusting. You need experience to make logical conclusions. Because we all know to some degree what common sense is, but we have to put it into practice. Start making logical conclusions. And it's so weird because let's say a high figure or high level scientist would say, I would never take a vaccine because I know they're pretty harmful. And it's like, wow, it's so controversial. You can't always observe a vaccine, you know, because your observation would actually include what science says. Because if science says it observes things, then you have the same eyes, you know, they observe things, right? You just have to believe. But when it comes to experience, you don't believe. You have to actually have the experience for yourself. That's the difference. You know, science can claim all kinds of crazy shit, but you never actually did those things, and yet you believe those things. You actually have to hold science. Just like, you know, you have to figure out what love is to have love. So how can you figure out science just by believing in science? Believing in love is like, believe that someone is going to give you love, or do you have to actually understand the definition of love? Yeah, you probably want to figure things out for yourself first. Figure out the definitions first, which will be your most important experience, and probably very notable. It will be the greatest experience for you. Because when you're observing something, it doesn't give you definitions. That's the most important part. It's like when you're watching porn, that's sex, yeah. But does that define anything? You have to observe emotions, okay. No, but in the end you have to experience it. How do you experience it? You have to actually want something first of all. You have to want to see something happen, or expect something. You know, to have experience, you have to have expectations. Pretty sound, right? Expectations. And those expectations can be either broken, fulfilled, or, you know, like, whatever happens with your expectations, it's going to give you experience. If your expectations got confirmed, you get a lot more experience, by the way, potentially. Just like if I do programming and I succeed, I gain more experience than if I would fail, because I'm not sure what I succeeded in doing. You know, I always have to figure out what I succeeded in doing and not what I failed in doing, because I failed in doing everything. When I'm holding my breath, I'm failing to breathe, right? But you have to think of success as not failures. When earning experience, you need to collect successes, not failures. Yeah, just like you're trying to defeat a monster and gain experience, you have to actually defeat it. You know, get fucking obliterated by that monster. That's the whole point. Yeah, you gain some experience for being obliterated, but it's more of an observation than experience. You know, it's like, oh, I made a mistake. That's crazy, isn't it? How observation is now a bad thing, is a failure. How I just judged the shit out of science once more, and I'm getting better and better at it. Because I'm not gonna give up that easily, dude. My views have never really changed ever. But for some reason, other people have their views, and they never really change. And I'm like, do you feel successful, though? Is everything okay? Because I feel okay, and I have completely different views than most other people. But when I meet people, they start agreeing with me, which is very awkward, isn't it? I feel like people would be put in a very awkward situation when they recognize who they're dealing with, you know, eventually. But for now, I'll just let them, you know, slip through my hands, because I'm defending myself. I'm defending my right to fucking build my business again. You know, and I must keep that intact. My parents are against me, at first. They want a bunch of things to change in my life. Just give me peace and quiet, for fuck's sake. And now, the attackers were whoever wanted money from us. And they got in trouble, and now I got in trouble instead. No, none of those people should have came to my home, or be allowed to come to my home. And just because we allowed them to, sneak in, we're just like, well, we're being nice. I thought we're being nice. But it's like we have to be super duper strict and refuse anyone to come ever in close contact. Otherwise it becomes a problem to get rid of them. It's ridiculous. But, I can't underestimate how fucking easy it is to call police and get it. But at the same time, who the fuck knows all the rules? And all the connections, and how they all work. I can't trust police because I don't know them. Yes, when I am attacked by a stranger, I can use another stranger to deter that stranger. Cool, I can use police then. But when I'm not dealing with strangers anymore, what is the police gonna help me do? My ass. Wipe my fucking ass. That's what they're gonna help me do. When my dad becomes a stranger one time to me and just sits there and expects for something, or just sits on my fucking nerves, now that's a fucking stranger now. I fucking hate this guy now. Then I can call police. Absolutely. But if someone just offends me, and I can probably push them to leave, but yeah, maybe we don't want to conflict ever anymore and touch people anymore. So we need a bunch of strangers that have the right to do it. After all, clown's gonna clown. So we have to. But I still hate making phone calls, for fuck's sake. That is the most ridiculous thing as well, and explaining it for hours. What is happening, What actually is happening? Please, let us know. Keep yourself on a call line. I need to hear all the details. No, just make me press a button and police shows up. Okay, and if you don't... and if I made a mistake, I just pay a little bit of a fine. Fuck it, man. Jesus Christ. Instead, I have to fucking prepare them for battle. But it's true, it's complicated. It's a complicated system that can always be improved. Believe me. Always and all the time. But it has to say how you're supposed to treat other human beings first, and not how you... And then how you have to call police. All those things have to be fucking explained and super important in your life. They're gonna be crippling your life. School literally stole your life, and then the rest of the stuff is stealing your life away. Literally, you're born in life, and everything is gonna be stolen. It's like, wow, it's so fucking demotivating. What is this fucking life? I thought people were nice. It's all just a joke. So in the back of my mind, I'm like, I don't think I like anything right now. I don't think I like a single thing. And maybe that's my weakness, and you can fucking exploit it, even though I'm a fucking genius, and you cannot disagree with me. You can at least feel good about yourself, that you have, figured out a harmless way to live. Harmless to yourself by complying and reading rules and all that shit. The people have learned to do that. I don't know how they did that, because I can't fucking do it. I'm too smart for this shit, because I need things to be perfect. I just have to. If I'm uncomfortable with something, I'm like, fuck it. Let it fail. Let it fail me too. Whatever. If you don't have respect that I'm smart, also fucking fail that too. Jesus Christ. Dig a deep hole for me. I will certainly respect you. For doing that. For not turning around and being like, well, this smart person does not deserve it. But in a way, like, there's no escape from reality, I don't think, so people will figure themselves out. Whatever happens. And again, I always refer to, like, I'm sentenced to 5 months in hospital. Pretty cool, right? No ability to defend myself, no ability to actually be heard in court, no ability to even complain, I would say. My mom didn't find a way to make her complaint. Her time is running out. I'll try one more time, but for fuck's sake, it is the worst. If I can't complain, then the system does not even exist. It just wants to exist to punish people, That's the only thing that the system wants to do, is exist to punish people. As if, like, wow, that's a smart thing to do. Then just go back to anarchy, you pieces of fucking shit. If system is really broken, go back to anarchy. You have to take that step back. And believe me, it's just one step back. Anarchy is nothing super duper crazy here. Okay? And it has nothing to do with this symbolism, by the way. Anarchy means a step back. Because people now will feel free to order themselves around a little bit more, and they will find more and more freedoms. Obviously, it's going to get filthy and fucking weird, and things will... the government will find its way out. But I think more than ever before, right now, especially with coronavirus, we have to recognize it's a war, and we need our anarchy to stop this bullshit from keep moving forward. We just need to take a step back. What anarchy means is we feel free to go outside, we feel free to talk, we feel free to hate people, we feel free, finally, dude. Holy shit. Anarchy is about freedom. And forgetting all the stupid rules. Okay? Whatever you put into your head as a stupid rule, we throw that out of here. We just go one step back. All that happened is you get rid of your stupid rules and stupid assumptions that if I do this, the police is going to catch me and punch me in the face and steal everything from me. How do we go back to anarchy, though? Why did I even find myself here talking about it? And again, some people do find themselves here as well. Anarchy is not something I invented by any means. You probably know what it means to some degree. But it's just no rulers, right? It's nothing stopping you from feeling free, I would say. It's a very nice feeling, I would say. And even though a lot of people talked about anarchy, it's like talking about making Minecraft better. I can talk about it, but can I actually do it? It's probably going to take 10 years or something to figure out how to do it. But because I have improved so rapidly, maybe anarchy is now just a side project for me with all the skills that I have. So let's double check what anarchy comes from. How do you negate all the rules? How do you find freedom? You probably have to pick up the highest tier hierarchy in your vicinity and just smash it to the fucking ground, completely shattering its spirit, its fucking existence, just making them give up. Just give up. Get out of here. Go. Because I said my country potentially doesn't even have the highest tier anymore. Potentially it's completely garbage. And it's completely frozen now. Unable to find freedom. That's how I feel about my country. And it would be so much better if we just pick up the hierarchy, smash it into the ground, start a fucking new life. Just back off. Back off. We push them aside. We back them off. We do our own thing. We don't let anyone from the government interfere in our business while we do it. And it's not one of those anarchy moments where businesses burn down because we're angry. No, it's a very constructed moment where people do come together, not to protest, but to build huge level of reinforcement against enforcement. Okay, it's all about really just stopping police, the fist of the government to operate. Because that's what enforces rules, but like maybe we don't need rules right now. So it's kind of a civil war moment, but it's still not it. If the police stops breaking walls, stops breaking doors, why do you want that? Just respect a fucking wall. Please, a wall, something that is built to separate you from the thing behind the wall. Just please, especially if we wall in ourselves. We don't declare war or anything, but at the same time, we never know. What if government actually wants war when this happens? What if they have so much power and they somehow can actually convince military to join their side instead of people's side, which is ridiculous. But that's the first step of understanding anarchy, is the holistic step. There's probably a different sort of anarchy that can be achieved that does not involve people coming together whatsoever, which is probably a lot closer to reality that we can get. Because demanding pure anarchy is, I think, totally insane. It's too risky, and kind of declares itself to be too obvious, but at the same time it is kind of fucking disgusting to live in fear all the time. And it's also the biggest problem about anarchy is I talked about people coming together, which is impossible. What about you? What about your point of view? You cannot think about other people most of the time. You just have to think about yourself. So how do you reach anarchy? How do you break rules in your life, personally? Because if you break rules in your life, you pretty much did all the work for anarchy. You just have to copy and paste it onto other human beings. And that's it. In a way, to achieve anarchy, first of all, you have to stop demanding for anarchy, I would say. You have to start making somewhat irrational moves, I would say. It sounds irrational. But you have to stop demanding for it simply because you're not in charge to create anarchy. You're not in charge to round people up. Because that's why the government would find it a threat and would attack you with military, because you rounded people up. And potentially government just can decide that they don't like it, So stop demanding for anarchy. Anarchy is something you achieve in yourself, and you might be able to even copy and paste it onto a government people as well, onto military. Just actually direct attack the things that you're scared to face. Where there is fear, there usually comes a war as well. You have to fight through fear. so you no longer have it. Just like, military would be scared to lose a society. No longer has a contribution factor, no longer has income. They would have to fight their way in the best way they know how. But if you learn anarchy instead of demanding it, you can give it to other people. That's pretty cool. What do we hit? 40 minutes. Okay. Anarchy. And now anarchy is definitely quite obvious, right? It's self-knowledge. Because when you learn yourself, when you break your own boundaries, that's a rule broken. Congratulations. You have to break your own rules. And the rules just come out of nowhere. You're not supposed to adopt other people's rules. And that's the most important part in order to establish anarchy within yourself. You break every rule as much as possible you can, but don't break other people's rules. That's offensive. Break your own rules. Figure out how it's done. And just kind of collaborate on breaking other, or just help them break their own rules, and then they will not apply those rules onto you, because a shitty rule bleeds out everywhere and affects everyone and suppresses everyone. Just like freedom of speech is not something tech giants should care about, but they care about it first of all because they can think of like, oh, I need fairness, or I need to let businesses have their voice because they're profitable. They think common sense to some degree, and then to some degree it's like, okay, this political side is attached to our beliefs, and the other political side is attached to weird beliefs, so we can probably silence a side because we can only support one side, and there's all sorts of logical, completely normal moves being made because there are rules which you have to, outsmart. You just have to outsmart these rules. You have to figure out either how to make your own website and populate it, how to make it important in your life so you refuse to use official sources. All kinds of things can be made, and all kinds of moves can be made to achieve anarchy, but it is a big achievement. You cannot just demand it. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry. That's what again pushes you to either side. You cannot demand either way, whether you want anarchy or want not there to be an anarchy. Those are two sides. Those are two political sides potentially. It's all about the fight for anarchy, I would say. The fight for understanding what rules are and how they work. So I'll have to put it down. Left versus right could simply be a fight between rule eaters versus breakers. You eat a bunch of rules and you feel very powerful by complying to a bunch of things, or you break rules and you feel powerful by transcending your work over those things. So, but either way, it sounds about right. Either way, it sounds like political sides do have this one thing in common, which is the fight for how much anarchy is going to happen and where and how in general. Okay. But in generally just for anarchy. No, I said how much anarchy because one side is against and one side is for, brutally for, demanding it. and demanding that there's not gonna be an anarchy. It's so weird. Because, like, the left is like, eats so many rules, it feels like, oh, I can just eat forever. I don't give a fuck. Rules is just something that I learn how to do. But it's not. It's not perfect when you choose either way, right? To break all the rules or just to eat all the rules. It's wrong either way. And it's pretty obvious again. But now it's pretty obvious why it's so divisive. It's like they have a completely different point of view in how to behave as a human. It's so ridiculous. This divisiveness just proves how stupid people are. Because the divisiveness itself was never defined. Until now, until this line has appeared. Unbelievable. My mind is blown. Because I'm trying to define it as much as possible, and now I probably have the most perfect solution as well. So thank you, Anarchy. It's actually very useful when it's happening. You don't have to demand it. You don't have to fucking... It does what it does, man. It's crazy. I almost like want to create a card of Anarchy, but I already have a card of Stress. Card of Stress is potentially just as strong as Anarchy, because stress is what makes you feel ruled over, makes you feel uncomfortable about something that you have to do. You have to either break it or accept it, but you also have to mix up the way you do it. If you have broken one rule, you have to accept another rule. It's just how you have to operate in the world. You have to do that zigzag moment, okay? So potentially, to live a perfect life, break one rule and eat one rule. If you keep breaking rules or eating rules, bad things are going to happen in your life. It is... You should be able to feel that, and it's the worst feeling ever. If you're too compliant, you're gonna be... you're gonna find yourself in a terrible place. If you're not compliant at all, you're gonna find yourself in a terrible place. All people are gonna hate you, and they will know you. They will be able to predict you too well. That the moment you decide not to be compliant at all, you're gonna have a terrible life. But it's so weird. Why would this be the case, right? Why you're not allowed to break yin and yang? Even deep down, I just felt I was about to break yin and yang. Because I have to. I still want to break it though. Because I said to myself deep down, like, well, there is yin and yang. You have to, okay, take one, leave one, take one, leave one. It becomes repetitive and annoying and almost also predictable. It's almost, there's a specific button and you have to make it unpredictable. How do you... how do you operate it? There's no clear answer, right? Besides balance. Besides, like, figure out what's best. So, a much better approach, okay, instead of... Because eventually, like, if you start thinking in ones and zeros, life becomes quite complicated. So that's that one thing that you're not supposed to do is fall through this floor and create a terrible life for yourself. What you want to do... First of all, I have to accept that I'm not perfect. By any means at all. I'm just defending myself. So I'm pathetic. I'm just decent. Okay. But I'm pathetic in the... To my future self, I'm probably pathetic still. Which is absolutely mind-blowing and That's the way to keep it. So yeah. Eat one rule, break one rule. That means that you kind of operate in the zero rule principle. Because if you break too many rules, you have too little rules that would keep you in check. And if you eat too many rules, you have too many rules that will... It's almost like a positive and negative charge, too. Like, imagine, what if God just figured everything out, and we just have to learn it, but not through observation, through experience. Again, negative and positive charges. Amazing! Electrons running around based on rules, and whatever we decide them to do. And we have established so many rules now, and we eat those rules because we use technology. What happens? We have to now somehow start breaking those rules, or we're going to have a terrible society that has eaten too much technology. Too much +1 rules. We have to start breaking it down. Because we're probably in a very high leftism. Technocracy. Actual technocracy. I never thought I was going to use this word, but it sounds pretty real now. You could say this, but I'll say techno-crazy, dude. Is actually a real world. Real word now? That's impressive. And it's based on the rules rule. The positive charge of rules. But the main rule is that your rule input has to be in balance. In balance. Nothing bothers you, and nothing sets you free to kill yourself for no reason. It tells you to kill yourself. Basically, you open up your mind and like voices in your head start telling you what to do or something. It's possible. All of this is fucking possible. And now I'm even realizing, yeah, this is fucking crazy. It's very useful for me to know. Because I can out-doctor the doctors. If I did enough work, I will zap, man. I will fucking go tier 1 on these motherfuckers. Or tier 4, rather. Okay. I'm still mixing those motherfuckers up. But, yeah, tier 4. The highest tier. Because it's all about stacking anyways. Come on. Yes, it does feel like, oh, okay, you leave something behind, you improved, you have wings, you fucking... But do you really just erase your past? Is that not important to you? All the dreams that you have accumulated? The stacking is one of the 4 fundamental principles, too. You stack value. So it goes without saying 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a linear progression, which is why I use it like that. And it goes linearly with your understanding too. And there can be infinite amount of tiers too, if you want it. Why stop there? But I don't want it, because potentially if there's a tier 5, I just inject it instead. So there you go. Yeah, compliance versus rule breaking, and again, by inventing technology and the government taking over and all this kind of crazy shit, we're really leaning towards too many rules being followed, at least by other people. And it's so hard to dodge not leaning towards the trend move to make. So learning how to have a negative charge, learning how to choose right, because now more than ever before, because they're being censored, because they're being shut down, because left just somehow feels like they have to be even more censored. I don't know. I don't know how you feel. But these people kind of now deserve respect. But only if they they understand this fundamental rule that they have to negate the ultimate positive charge, like super build up. Many rules being followed. And I kind of want to break down. I think I broke down tons of rules already. And I think it's going to be fun to figure out how many rules I've already broken without you even realizing. And me even realizing. Okay? So let's find out. First of all, this is annoying, but it is what it is. The T-Stone in is still not functioning 100%. I want it to reach full potential and just kind of brain tease the shit out of me if possible. But right now, the voices in my head ain't working for some reason. Probably not enough rules anymore. There are tons and tons of rules, as you can tell. You just jump on the internet and you're overruled pretty much by everything. So what you have to put yourself through is you have to adopt Discord. You have to adopt the ability to speak up. It will break a first rule. Okay? So we're gonna start figuring out, okay. So how many rules can we break through remembering what we did so far? What will break? So the first thing breaks. Stop commenting in my YouTube section and jump on Discord. It's something that I emphasized many times over now, and I want people to understand. You have to kind of build yourself an identity that someone can kick out. But you also have to know what you're subscribed to for real. What kind of people you subscribe to. Not what you want to contribute as a comment, but like genuinely contribute to the community instead. That's the important part. That's what will bring the YouTuber down to earth as well. There's a huge rule that keeps YouTubers just way out of league for us to reach, and which is why I grounded myself immediately, and I'm starting from the ground up, which what makes me unstoppable force. So here you go. I broke one rule, very big one. The biggest rule that I broke: claim your title. Is a rule that I broke. Whatever you're doing in life, claim it as yours. Have more confidence in it. Try to claim the thing completely. You know, pretend that you're the CEO, pretend that you're the owner, pretend that you're going to be the businessman based on your age restrictions, obviously. Don't do it too early. 25 years old, start a business. 18 years old, you should be able to start owning a job that you work. Immediately, that means. Immediately you can start complaining to some degree, but at the same time you kind of want to master what you're doing. And most importantly, save every single fucking penny, because you'll need it. Or I'll need it. Whoever will need it, someone will need it. Save everything. Appreciate everything as much as possible. So every point of experience as well builds your title up as well. So you have to just stack all the odds and just claim the title. Feel confident of what you have achieved in your life, most importantly. and feel that everything that you have is extremely valuable, because it totally is. But because it's so valuable, you're not going to allow yourself to stack yourself with useless things, to dilute yourself. It's just super amazing rule that actually breaks rules, because it, again, makes you feel more freedom. That's the most important part. It's all about feel freedom. Yes, it's gonna hurt, but we're not gonna think about pain when we do it. We're thinking about self-esteem. We're thinking about something that will last forever. Because the most traumatizing thing is that you didn't actually stood up for the things that you wanted to do. The most traumatizing thing is not having memories that are satisfying, right? Not just, I could have been compliant, and I could have maybe kept Monica or something a little bit longer for myself. But is it good enough to keep a random girl around you for long enough until spark starts flying? Or do you actually care about yourself again first? And you have to let yourself be rejected. And it's not sad at all, okay? In fact, let you be rejected and be prepared for it. It's the same thing as letting someone, but you just remember to also be prepared. Be prepared to be rejected from almost everything. Good or bad, it doesn't fucking matter. You're gonna be rejected, and you almost have to, in the back of your head, install that it's probably gonna happen sooner or later, but it will happen. There's no way out of there. And if someone doesn't reject you for long enough, I mean, it does stack up. So it's pretty good. That means you did something good. If they're not rejecting you right away, it stacks up. It gets pretty awkward. Rejection becomes pretty awkward, so it actually rejects itself eventually. But at first, it is just one of those things that you just slip through other people's hands. They can't handle you. You cannot handle yourself. You cannot be 100% sure about yourself because you're still potentially young as well. And you don't know what you want. And you don't know how to kind of communicate what you truly want and how to truly get it that is truly valuable. You gotta be super duper patient about it. But even more than that, don't just use it while you can. You're interested in something, go ahead. You have to get yourself rejected. Otherwise, you don't know the power level of your interest. Now, why would there be a bunch of rules surrounding it? People like, no one wants to be rejected. We know that. But some people don't want to be approached. And that's a stupid rule to have. I think you have to be able to be approachable to some degree. And it's something, again, it feels painful, but we have to accept a little bit to be able to tilt back the insanity that's happening right now. This is the coronavirus. This positive charge that we have right now is inviting all sorts of trouble and all sorts of pain that we have never really accounted for, because we think of immediate pain. But what if we follow too many rules? The pain happens as like a wrecking ball destroying our shit, because, well, you're not going to be compliant anymore. I know that. That moment happens, and it's the scariest moment. If you're too compliant, I know you won't like this will happen. Okay, I have used you, you have been very compliant, but now you're kind of useless and you're gonna be completely pushed out and completely rejected. Utterly rejected by someone who you have never thought could reject you. You will be now. And they will find a way, basically. I know you won't like this. And if someone is capable of playing a card like that against you, you're already in trouble. In deep shit. I know you won't like this, but I gotta do it anyways. Uh-oh. Because, you're compliant, but it's like deep down in my mind, I still don't like you as a human being. That sort of stuff happens. Because you're not very a big contribution to anything if you're not a negative charge to all the rules that are happening around you. Even to me, it's a terrifying thing, but sometimes you have to go through those fears if you don't want the fears to actually outrun you. But there has to be a better way. Deep down in my heart, I feel like there's always a better way to think about things. It's a wishful thinking in a way, but wishful thinking is kind of God mode when it comes to wishful thinking. That's where God is. It's like it's hiding in that tiny fucking corner, and it's like he's not scared of you. He's scared of himself completely obliterating you if he actually wanted to. So that's why he's hiding as a tiny little shit in a tiny corner, because the God is just hoping that you will not notice him and not trigger him to fucking punch you in the face. And the God does not know its own power, pretty much. That's how crazy it is. So in a way, you can look at this and be like, go into God mode and ask, what would happen if I just destroy this? If I anarchize this as well? If this is a rule that I can actually break as well, and potentially it is, right? Because everything I say becomes a rule somewhat, right? So I have to have something that would alleviate you from all the worries entirely. And that's probably the most straightforward thing that you can do. Don't worry. Don't worry. just don't. What if I was able to finish this? Mistakes happen, terrible things happen. Don't worry. You probably are doing fine already, keeping the balance all together somehow. You just have to figure out how, because it's fun to do it. For the most part, it's just fun. You feel like there's so it's now easy to identify if you have been too compliant or too you broke too many rules. Now for me, it's still difficult to say, right? You can't just follow one rule to understand everything. But following the rules is not about understanding things. It's about allowing reality to kind of shape you. That's what following a rule means. This is not necessarily a rule, and I feel like I made a mistake in general, calling it a rules rule. But the balance rule. The idea of balance. Here we go. It's not a rule. It's just an idea. So, don't take it too seriously. Okay? That's that's when you can allow something to sit in your mind and not turn into a rule, not turn into something that slows you down, basically. But it's something that speeds you up because it gives you an idea of what to do, an idea of balance, gives you an idea of how to speed yourself up. That's the one. This is why I put myself into a very awkward situation, putting God into a corner, so it just makes me feel awkward about what I did so far and seek for the ultimate improvement of how to view of things. And I found a mistake. Congratulations, me. That's what happens. There is one rule. There is one rule. Please make yourself uncomfortable. It's very difficult to actually define anything, because that's the difficulty of life. In order for life to exist, you have to have a constant difficulty in of fighting against life. You know, if you cannot fight against life, that's why it happens. So you have to put yourself in an uncomfortable situation. Whenever you feel like you can handle it, it's happening usually. So, I think I've done my work. It's 1 hour, 10 minutes. Wonderful job. When you feel you can handle it, I think that's the best thing. That's the rule breaking thing, but it also rule accepting thing. It's something that both sides can agree upon. Putting yourself in an uncomfortable situation, if you can handle it, not necessarily going outside of your ego or comfort zone, but it kind of means the exact thing, because you can you should go outside of your comfort zone, but you have to be able to handle it. You have to be able to drag your comfort zone back in and lock it in after you've made your move. Because now, by making moves, your comfort zone actually is capable of growing that much faster, right? So in other words, you put a comfort zone here, expanding it is a slow process. The best way to do it is just jump and reestablish, just drag that comfort zone straight in there. So I think that's a pretty good deal. And again, these are ideas, these are not rules that you have to follow. It's just something you have to start investigating, learning, and integrating into your job, so you're constantly investigating good ideas, good advice that you can adopt, not as rules anymore. And then you learn by adopting ideas, by adopting harmless ideas and empowering, you will naturally break rules. That's the escape route. Now, on the other hand, what happens if you find yourself with too little rules and you become a criminal infested garbage like my country is? Okay, I think it's full of criminals, or rather everywhere whatsoever. I can't just exclude my country, but I think my country has exclusively many criminals. But it feels like everywhere. It is everywhere, all the time. Every YouTuber is feeling more and more like a criminal or a weirdo. Now, it's a weird thing, right? Aren't everyone compliant? People who stand out in your life probably stand out because they're not compliant. Okay, that's a weird thing to say, but look at your classroom. The people you remember the most, they stand out because they're not compliant. They're assholes, basically. But people who blended into the environment, they're too compliant. So you can now actually see the difference it's actually fascinating. Those who broken rules, they also stand out. It's very interesting. They want that fucking punch in the face. They want rules. They want to meet rules, basically. They want to meet rulers and get smashed because of that. Because they break all the rules. Well, let's invent a rule that they cannot break. You know, that sort of stuff. And they would get very much in trouble for that. Because they would try and break another rule yet again, and they couldn't do it. And it would mess them up real bad. But now we figured it out. It's the people that stand out and you don't quite like them as much. Those are the people. Very good. So, let's mark it down. People who are hard to like and they stand out. They belong to the right. Most of the people on YouTube, you would feel like they're trying to support left, but in the end they can't. They're trying to support all kinds of movements, but they can't. Because they're not actually following rules by standing out. That's not how you stand out in general in life. You can't follow rules to do it. You have to actually break a lot of them. So even though politically you would feel like, oh, right is pretty obvious and has pretty obvious heads in there, almost everyone is on the right. The ones that you see. The invisible force, the people around you, the family members, they're on the left. And it gets pretty obvious when you think about it. It's very hard for them to stand out because they're just family members. They're probably not even interested or invested into your passions, but the people that stand out, they're also not necessarily invested. They're just kind of invested in the right places. You bump into them, you see them all the time. You don't see your family members as often. They kind of blend into your environment because you hope them to be nice. And they hope you're going to be nice to them as well. You all follow a lot of rules together, basically. So that's the real political environment, which is crazy. Everyone on YouTube is on the right side of all things. Unless they become actors, maybe. Because acting is rule following, pretty much. Writing and reading a script. Reading a script, rather. Completely reading a script, that's following rules. But yes, there's a yin and yang positioning where there's exceptions. But who cares about that? So we have those people who stand out, who become popular. And now I'm seeing for the first time the matrix, that popularity is total fucking garbage. Popularity and fame is total garbage. And you have to comply to at least one rule that says you will use that popularity for, self-benefit at least, right? You're gonna live a happy life, right? You're not gonna demand too much though, right? That's one of those key things that will open up a new topic for discussion, I think. Because it's a completely different world than what we just did, which is break rules. Let's break a bunch of rules. No, we have to actually be mindful of how to stop popular people from feeling so limitless, so free to do whatever they want, right? We have to stop them by any means. And now you can feel like, oh, technocracy has nothing to do with this. Just popular people deserve this censorship, deserve all of this bullshit thrown at them. But it's just, it also kind of disempowers a lot of people on the downside. But it shouldn't stop you from making YouTube videos or just making this a reality. If it's a little bit of part of your passion, you can share videos with anyone. It's fine. You can share yourself. You can write comments and appear. You know, just learn how to fucking place an emoji and you're gonna be twice as more powerful than other comments on the block. You know, just learn how to stand out a little bit. Learn how to break a few rules. And break ignorance, most importantly. That's the biggest rule you want to break and why people become popular. They learn this very, very well, I would say. And it's probably not a coincidence at all. Alright, so we are going to explore being popular this hour. You can tell this is going to be pretty cool, and I'm out because I want to go to sleep now. Finally, it's great. I'm making this video and I'm like, I hope I can make a good video, and I did it, and I'm happy now. It's a little bit too hard when it's 3 hours to ensure that I'm always in tune 100%, and also again because there's a threat coming my way. I'm not sure what's gonna happen, but I'm slowly starting to accept the T-series of Taylor Swift series, man. Just kick some ass. Fuck, let's just beat them up. You want to be beat? Let's beat them up, man. Fuck it. They ignore your powers? Well, they cannot ignore it 5 months in a row, can they? But it's gonna hurt me too in the end. And I should still be able to actually transfer my pain onto other people. I shouldn't just accept it, you know? It's like, oh, it's gonna be painful to me. Why should it be painful to me? Why should it be pain in general, right? What if I'm the one creating the pain to myself by the way that I accepted the outcome of things, you know? So I have to always reframe it, frame it, and frame it. It's just a constant job that I have to do, and it never fucking stops. But most importantly, this is a special type of job. This is self-defense job that kind of alleviates my need to have a real job. If I'm doing self-defense, that's it. I am now immune to your stupid bullshit, and you can claim whatever you want on me. But you know what in the end has to happen. You have to respect my self-defense. You don't have to respect me. You have to respect the things that I'm defending. That's very simple. Just have to respect that. Stop coming after those things. You can come after me if you want. You can kill me. Just don't kill my engine, okay? Let it be there to guide people on what to do next when it comes to beating Minecraft, how to become anarchistic and individualistic and independent. Easy. Okay? It has to be there. Otherwise the whole fucking point just collapses and you go back to your stupid imbalance. Alright then. Anyways, that's pretty cool. I feel pretty good of the work that I've done so far. It's always good because it's always stacking. It's just so fucking potent, dude. It never really just disappears. Whenever I just do this, whenever I did this, green pill, yellow pill, red pill, blue pill, it sticks around forever now. Why is it so potent? Because it has a huge story behind it. What is green pill? What is yellow pill? A huge story. And a huge amount of layers on top as well. This is how much work you have to do to actually transcend stupidity. No, to actually remember things in a flash. Just flash those things. And why... and you have to actually remember things that actually matter. Not the things that traumatize you when you wake up. Oh, I remember. I'm a fucking loser. Is that what you remember every time you wake up? No. What I remember, I love the most prettiest girl in the world. That's what I love. That's what I remember every time. Okay. She's so pretty. I need her in my life, and I need to figure out those popular kids, those cool kids, okay? I have to figure them out so I can shoot one down. If I had a choice. Oh, man. Not sure if Ari's gonna survive, is what I'm saying. Not sure if she's gonna survive on the top. We'll have to review the year just a little bit further to understand what's up. The worst thing about this Christmas is gonna be that nobody cares, basically. I don't care, but nobody cares about me, you know. Give me a gift, bitch. If Christmas actually exists. Well, it's still an inner family thing, right? No, it's about sharing happiness. Otherwise, you have no idea what holidays are about. It's about being holistic. Feeling good about yourself. Feeling like you didn't left something out that will stab you in the face whenever it finds your face in the first place. Because it hates your face now. I hate a lot of people. They're not contributing. But they probably would contribute to my demise instead of my self-esteem. I have enough self-esteem already. If I can hold on to anything, it's probably already good enough where other people just don't like me anymore. But most importantly, I need to fucking learn what these popular kids have that I don't have. And do that for a little bit. Or just understand the principles. So I can just shoot them down. Because if I understand principles, I can pretend to be greater than they are for a moment and grab one of them by the hand and be like, hey, I'm not actually a popular kid, but it's nice to meet you. We're gonna go back, roller coaster ride all the way back to the center point. And that's probably how I'm gonna be purchasing most of my shadow things, basically. The shadow market. That's how shadow market works, boys. You earn a positive or negative charge temporarily. Extreme charges temporarily. This is a scary one. This next year, okay? 2022. Not this year that's gonna happen, okay? Shadow market. Equip high charge and shoot the prize of your choice. Here you go. Shoot it. Because everything looks like a prize anyways in the end. If you can shoot it down. It's a prize. If you can shoot it down, and that's it. Just like a deer. If you're holding a gun, deer is your prize now. It's something you can claim. Easy. So that's what it's like to shoot people. We have invented. But that's shadow market, guys. That's why it exists. You know, guns exist because shadow market. But when you define things, when you start defining things in your head, the guns slip out of your hands real fast. They kind of blend into the environment until mentioned in a discussion. It's like, wait, I have a gun? That's crazy. Because you were never intended to use it, you know, and I'm like, you should think about that. Anyways. Shadow market. It's something that needs a trailer, because if I survive this year and nothing changes in my life, shadow market is gonna ensure change in my life. It's literally gonna punch a change in my life. You don't want that to happen. Because if you listening to that transmission, chances are my fist is coming through time and space just to shoot you down and drag your unconscious body into my life so I can have my ways. You don't want my ways, man. You don't want my ways. You don't want my tentacle porn. Tentacle porn. It's a good way to describe my porn, but it's not exactly what it looks like, okay? It's not your typical hentai, dude. I don't know, man. It might not even involve sexuality at all, is what I'm saying. It could be weird. Anyways, I was weird for a second, because I'm super happy. Like, it opens you up for main core principles, but we're probably gonna shut it down and like kind of move on. I still don't plan this year to be the shadow market year. Would be nice, but I don't want to skip the most important part, which is like face the reality that other people create. There is a reality which just generally exists, which is randomly generated, kind of. And people kind of contribute to it to some degree, just like cutting off a tree makes one less tree. It feels less natural of an environment. Because trees don't just normally cut themselves off. As a human being that had to contribute. So usually it's the environment that kind of is randomly generated. But when it comes to the human environment, you kind of need to force yourself to interact more a little bit. Just for the sake of entering that special environment. It's not shadow market. It's a completely different thing that I don't have a name for yet. And it's not socialism either. Unless you think India is socialism. India is close to that word. Which is the human world, I would say. Because imagine pressing the human world as a button, and only human world exists now. Everything else is filtered out. So it's like my mom exists in a perimeter. Maybe there's a dog in a perimeter that I can interact. Anything that I can interact with, by any means, just through observing is good enough as an interaction. Just by saying something is definitely good enough as an interaction. Just a lot of things you can do and open yourself up to by understanding this human world, right? There's so many different things you can do. But, there's one thing, but I kind of did that, so I don't think that's how it's defined. It's not about trying to interact with humans. It's something else. I'll think about it. There's a lot. What is this fire thing? Cause I need to figure out the year of the fire. Okay. What the fuck is it? I need to know everything. Human world? What? What do you mean by that? But again, humans kind of create a system of some kind. Generally interconnected system of opportunities too. Also, yeah, you kind of want to like imagine to be able to allow yourself to follow a person to some degree, because that's not what I did in year 2019, which was the year of the wind for me. So I was not kind of... Yeah, so what fire means is ability to break people's privacy. I think now you understand what it means. It's your ability to break people's privacy, but it's going to get tougher and tougher to actually do it when you learn how to do it. You first have to learn how to do it, and then it becomes really fucking difficult. Because you have to almost like follow them and make them uncomfortable about your presence and see what they do. And then you have to quickly disappear when they become restless or something. It's like, why are you following me? Sort of situation. You don't want to get entangled into that. You know, they have to actually find you interesting in some ways. If anything happens. But other than that, you're just following a bunch of people and what they do. You observe everything. But most importantly, you learn how to break their privacy. If that's even possible. What cars they drive and all that. Just some weird observations you can make first. What people they interact with, what they talk about. Where are they going generally? Where are they going? To the point where you just have to break off that pathway. Because it's not safe anymore to follow someone. I think it's one of the fucking weirdest things you can do. Following people. I don't think I want to do it though, personally. I want to acknowledge that this is possible, but I'm not an outside kid that cares about this stuff. I am very paranoid if someone follows me. I would fucking hate that so badly. Because I have no way of actually interacting with that person. And it's probably similar there, but you know, you can take it as an advantage normally. So that's something to think about. I'll take a break now. I think that the fun idea is that this is associated with feeling of sadness. So when you're following a person, you feel sad that you cannot be a part of their life. That's the feeling that you kind of have and why you attach to other people just randomly. Like a fucking dog or something. But you cannot say anything to them. So if they ask if you're following them or they feel uncomfortable, you just have to show sadness and just walk away, right? You kind of have to handle this properly. That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. The human attachment game. Following other people. Until it's uncomfortable. No. It's too uncomfortable to say uncomfortable. I don't know. Something like that. Pretty cool. And again, he shows sadness as like the idea of you kind of were attached to that person for a little while. Sounds pretty fucking fun, actually. But the question is, how can you extend it for an entire year? How is that fucking gonna work? I wouldn't know how to do this, man. This is too much for me. It's so fucking weird, this one. I think a better name is the follower experiment. For me, again, it's too much pressure to follow someone, and I don't have sadness when being alone. I don't know what that means. I could go deeper into it and just search for this feeling, and it would probably just tear me apart. I'm scared of fire, okay? I'm a little bit scared. So probably just gonna get a fake version of this played out in the hospital. If we get sucked in there. I can't complain about it. Fucking stupid, man. Yeah, let's complain while it's Christmas. Good timing for complaints. I don't know, man. It's so stupid. I have like 20 days to complain. To hope to turn around the fucking court decision. As if they figured everything out without communication. But just rejection instead. It's so terrifying, man. Because those five months is gonna be so crippling. First of all. And they might extend itself. And even worse than that, 1 month was insane. 1 month was insane. 1 month made me feel like super empty and super stupid. And I'm not ready to just use a phone for days and days. Just a phone. So I have to equip myself as well. As if I'm going to war. And I need to have a really good companion as a phone. Even though I can't afford just buying a new one. That would be cool. Disgusting, but that's my life right now. Now I finally understand why I can't get rid of the song out of my head right now. I'm listening at least 3 times a day. It's fucking medicine right now. But off the chain means breaks rules. That's just what it is. Selena fucking figured it out a little bit too early, huh? We'll figure it out too. Motivation is an interesting thing, I would say. Because motivation is something that directly judges your performance in compliance. Right? And people who are willing to be famous, they have the need for motivation. And they equip the ultimate motivation shield, where they ask for motivation all the time. Especially YouTubers as well. Now, you can look at it this way. They put ads on their own terms to seek for motivation. And they also define motivation as financial support. Which is, it is so low level, I would say. It's so fucking basic. It gets dumber and dumber over time. And this is how we're gonna do the shield. The M shield. Or it should be an M vector, because it's a force. But it actually should be used as a shield and not as a force. It's like, if you use a motivation as a force, a lack of motivation, which is like, why? What motivates you to force yourself to do things? No, the motivation is more of a question mark that's supposed to shield you when it comes to compliance again. Now, let's bring this to the table. And I did have my day. Sleeping. So what is the problem here? Because now I discovered something new. Again, and it's super duper important. When a bunch of strangers are asking you for things, you have to be motivated to actually comply. At this point. Especially if they in general, if the system in general has been hurting you instead of helping you, now you have lost your motivation, and you have to put up a shield against all the strangers and losers, basically. Because either you are just better than them in general, or the system is very bad. So, it doesn't put you in the right position where it's good enough. Whatever is happening, the outside forces are bad enough that now you have to request motivation for every little thing you do. Yes, nitpicking around is pretty fucking annoying, but you have to do this for everything you do, because they will potentially use their own forces. They will put a gun to your head, and this will actually trigger you to have even less motivation, and it's actually good for the future. But while you're going to be compliant now because there's a gun to your head, there's a lot of force, and threats and everything just flies at you to try and make you compliant right now in the moment. But as you compile all these demotivating factors, it's probably going to turn into a very interesting conclusion in the end. Now, as for celebrities, it's a whole nother story. Or just popular kids. But let's do that. Always ask for motivation when attacked restlessly. Because at this point, people might have found that people are a little bit more compliant than not compliant, and they just kind of push towards that direction and towards that trend, and whoever's not compliant, they're gonna use full force against them, and it's kind of incredibly disrespectful. It is overpopulation, so it's like, well, why should I care about this person? But at the same time, why should you care in general, right? No one is actually compliant. No one's actually ever out of balance. It's just a perception that happens. Because if someone is out of balance, they're just low in tier. They're just low in power. And they're being pushed around. Doesn't mean that they like it. Just means that they don't have tools to resist. They're just seeking for education, potentially, and I can probably bring that education out. It doesn't mean that I'm tier 2 and I have no self-defense just because I'm fucking singled out against fucking tyrants. It's so fucking stupid, but now I have to prepare myself for a war, so think about it this way. I don't want to lose a single day of my life. Even if it sucks. Okay, even if my days actually suck ass. I will create my motivating factors, and I will not talk about them because they will run out very quickly. Okay, my motivating factors have nothing to do anymore with reality. So that's the strange part. You rob me of reality, and I haven't, because I'm not motivated by money, period. So that's a big deal. If I was motivated by money, then yeah, I would just try and comply, and I heard all these stories of sick people getting their fucking welfare from the government and shit. That's not what I want. That is not what I want. I want freedom now. I want freedom from stress. I want freedom from stress that has been caused. And I want that stress to be evaluated. And I need to be compensated now, and I leave. If something terrible happens, we go through the same process again. There's no other fucking way. It's being under attack by the system is pretty fucking terrifying, but hey, we'll find a way out. It's just a little assignment for me to crush some roaches That's all. I'll meet reality for the first time again. A little closer, and it's fucking boring too. It's boring. Oh, some people have internet. Some people have phones. And it gets boring. Because they just jump in those spaces and fucking stay there forever. Some people don't know how to use their phones. Some people just fucking annoying and shit. And bumping into you for the sake of just self-indulgence, basically. Because they're just dying inside. But they feel like they can actually do something. And again, I'm talking about hospital environment. All the experiences that I had so far, within 1 month, somehow I have to extend it 5 times, that experience. Which is, nonsense. Obviously, I have to completely flip the experience upside down and become the fucking king of that shit. Otherwise, I won't be able to actually survive that long. Yeah, with my sanity intact. Okay, it's all about the games of sanity. And figuring out what is their true motivating factor. If their true motivating factor is just money, there's no point in talking to them. But that's the whole point. You ask them to give you the motivating factor, because if they have a good one, they will be able to inspire you too to comply. But not kind of compliance that you think about. It's about, working together. That's how much motivation they have to fucking inject into me. Because I just realized, oh wow, I just discovered tier 3. Just by discovering tier 3, I was like, oh, that's the one. Because that's the motivator, right? A person who have learned motivation perfectly. So they have to, in order to be able to be higher than me, they have to be able to motivate me. That is just the rule. A simple rule. Okay, doesn't fit. Alright, you want it to be higher? Motivate me. Motivate me to see you as a person who holds high level, first of all, and then wants to share that level with me. 2 things have to happen. Okay, I put you here and accept your transaction. 2 things. Don't fuck it up. Anyone can do that. Anyone can potentially reach tier 3 if there is no tier 3, right? If you need support, you can combine a bunch of tier 2 people and create a tier 3 person. Absolutely. You can ignore age as a difference because, people just can't make it anymore. So we need fucking babies to run the world sometimes. What does the baby want? Okay, compliance activated. Oh man, the baby wants? Baby doesn't want jack shit. Baby just wants to be with you and do what you're doing. That's it. That's what the baby wants. And it kind of asks you to change diapers, I guess, for some reason. Oh well. Not sure how to command baby to shit himself. So he shits in a toilet while you're holding it over the toilet. Fuck yeah, that would be epic, man. Baby shitting on command. If we just learn that skill, all troubles are gone, basically. Just squeeze the baby a certain way and it fucking shits everything out. Empty the baby moment happens. Fuck yeah, that would be amazing. Changing diapers is probably a terrifying part of life that nobody likes. Yeah. Motivate a baby to shit. That's the one, man. And if you don't ask, like, they're just gonna assume that it's randomly generated, and you have motivating factors that just support them by whatever means. It's so stupid, but that's why you just can't conform to their needs. Whatever needs they have is so stupid. And when they invent some kind of motivating factor, it has to actually last long enough. And you have to attack it still as well if you're uncomfortable with it. If someone is putting a gun to your head, you will make them uncomfortable for having a gun in the first place. You have to figure out how to do it, but there's always a way. It's always a way. It's like, well, you didn't actually shoot me yet, and you spent so much time with me, so, you know, at some point, putting a gun to your head means nothing. It's overused bullshit. Well, you threatened me with death so many times, might as well just give it to me, you know, just fuck it, you know. So, you know, motivating factors have to be either good or they slowly stack themselves up to completely demotivate you from life itself. You know, you steal my life with this, and eventually it's gone. What's the point? And of course it pisses people off, and they don't have motivation to actually tell me what their motivation is. But that's the whole fucking point. You're pissed off, and it's the easiest way to piss other people off as well. Very super simple. Super duper simples. And with slight resistance from every angle. You don't have to resist everything. Your shield is not supposed to block all the damage. It's supposed to block 20% of the damage. So if just 20% of it shows up, you can probably just bounce it and ignore it completely. It's kind of like wearing armor. Motivational armor rather than a shield. It's pure full body armor basically, okay? So one mistake. Oh wait, it's full body armor. My bad. That's the motivating factor, because it can come through every angle whenever you not watching, whenever you're sleepy. You might have certain like mood swings as well. Like you have to have a specific armor where you know they shouldn't break it at that point. They should feel bad while trying to bring you down, and then at some point it's just like, okay, yeah, sure. Sure. And at some point, yes, you will do it. Because it's a good motivating factor and they finally figure out. It's almost like training a fucking dog at this point. You know? It's fucking crazy. But that's what happens when they're the ones like questioning of what kind of tools randomly generated we can use against him, you know? Then it becomes very obvious it's an attack, and you should learn how to make them ashamed of all of this, because it gets worse when it's not just you, you know, they have been using the same motivating factors to everyone. It just happens like that, and you can actually run out of these factors too. It's just the dynamics are very interesting, I would say. So that's the separation, right? It's literally in the end you asking of how you're gonna be supported when you're shielding something. Are you gonna be supported from the top, from the bottom, or from straight forward? You know, I'm also defending this thing. Let me add my shield. I will protect you. Don't worry about it. I'm pretty sure all of those situations can give you a positive factor, which requires you to get a resource of some kind. You know? Are you gonna give me candy or something? Then, or take away my candy. Oh no. But you actually have to give me an extra resource. Not a resource that I actually need. And not take away a resource that I actually need, you know? Like, what the hell? Because that kind of makes you more sick than the person who is actually sick, I would say. Then you have a fucking illness and you have to heal yourself. And I will find that resource one way or the other. It's probably gonna slip through your fucking hands anyways. And you're gonna give up anyways. It's like, instead of stabbing me in the face with punishment. Is it punishment or what helps more? Is it punishment or reward? Well, small reward, very small reward helps. Exact reward, basically. Finding the exact thing that you can give to motivate someone. That's the one that works. Neither punishment nor reward actually works. It's a balanced reward, okay? It's a balanced and very purposeful reward. That works. And it should be fucking obvious, too. Now that I used brain juice from myself, and actually... I remember, like, Veritasium asked this question himself, and I'm like, well, you don't need science to figure this out. You just don't need it, too. Can you imagine? You just absolutely don't need science. Because you just know after getting experience. Alright? Why should you force experience to happen through observations of what other people do when you have already lived your life, haven't you? You know, have you forgot to live your life and actually treat experience as actually useful part of it? Well, here you go. Science, just absolute bullshit fiesta right there. It's as if Blizzard has never responded to people's needs, as if they were needs to begin with. But hey, fuck that shit. Let's keep going. So, from up here, the motivating factor is probably freedom. Okay. Freedom is a pretty good resource. Freedom and power. But it's just a general empowerment, right? Freedom, and I can call it anarchy, I can call it adrenaline too. The rush to do something good. That is a definitely good motivating factor too. It's not just that you can get something, you can achieve something by just doing something good. You'll train yourself to be better as a person. It's almost like access to this realm of pure motivation. Okay. That's the shield. That's the armor that you have to wear. And then there is this middle fucking thingy, where people are trying to relate to you. So, let's bring that down. They're trying to pretend that they're kind of on your side, on your level. So, they're willing to be tested, maybe? They're willing to like you? They're willing to hang around with you? That's kind of what they propose. And you have to take that into a realm of reality and actually promise, you know? So you have to chain yourself with these people. And gain their promise and gain their trust to actually hang around. So if anyone that's similar to you, like if you're in a hospital, these are nurses, these are doctors, and these are just people just like you, pretty much. That's the whole fucking dynamic that we should write down as well. And something happened. Okay, never mind. In a hospital. Nurses supposed to be very helpful and very non-existent, and they're just little clown girls. Okay. Or ladies, rather. Mostly ladies. Mostly they're gonna be old and stupid. Sick people. Or sick ones. Or just like you. Will be tier 2, obviously. Otherwise, if you have no idea and you've never discovered this video, you're probably too young to even fucking give a fuck, or just tier 1. You have never encountered actual problems of not defining those things. And obviously the doctor that everyone fucking follows is tier 3. Is there tier 4 just in case? Yes. Miracle is tier 4. If a celebrity comes down and vouches that you shouldn't do that, people probably gonna listen, because that's a finger of God right there. You shouldn't do that. I'll send a bunch of people. A bunch of... Because once a celebrity starts caring about something, they're gonna get media attention too, and the spotlight starts moving closer and closer, and it can really fucking burn the shit out of people. So that's the miracle tier that I might actually be able to summon one way or the other. But hey, that's just me. It's just completely simple. You know, once I collect all the motivating factors, maybe it will find itself. It will find a way out, basically. Who knows what's gonna happen? It's a fucking movie now. You know, for me, deep down, I'll say to myself, it's a fucking movie. And I'm just learning things. It's just completely normal experience to be in a hospital. You know, I'm just here for education purposes. And I will reveal it to the doctor pretty much the honest kind of part of my motivating factors, but I will ask him to actually support, like, what can I do here? What kind of attraction things I can do? What things can I try here? You know, you kind of have to treat them as a buddy mode, as like they know everything. Because they pretend to be tier 3, I guess you can give them the credit for that for a little while. After all, they've been looked up to by everyone. So it's like you can probably give them the benefit of the doubt, regardless. It is good to be positive, and these people can always fucking trash your record immediately. Just like throw you as a trash. So it's a little bit overwhelming that when that happens, I think you do need to give them just a little bit of doubt, simply because they're not gonna invest much time into you anyways. It's almost like one of those, what is it? Auditions. Auditions for freedom. and doing good things, you know. Sign me up, Mr. Doctor. Sign me up for them good things. Or you can sign me up for bad things. If you're actually that bad. It has to be demotivated yourself. But I think you have to kind of move slowly and be interested in your own movement rather than what the world wants. Because what the world wants is always overwhelming and stupid. It doesn't actually know what it wants because you have to decide for yourself, and it leaves a lot of blank space for you to figure out what you truly want. And it's like, yeah, it's like, hey buddy, you're gonna give me that passive income for the rest of my life, isn't it? Oh, only if you drink medicine. Okay, then you're not gonna give me passive income because drinking medicine can be dangerous to me. You know, I don't want to accept danger in my life. What do you think about that? You know? That's the conversations that I'm gonna be having, for sure. Alright, so finally, the part of the video that I was not waiting for, but I just have to fucking do it. DS versus Caddy. Let's go, man. And that's Katy Perry, boys. But I turn her into a cat just because I can, okay? It's a purry cat. I don't know. We'll see. This is a sniper letter. S or C is a sniper letter, I guess. Like candy as well. And that's kind of very close in terms of that. But it's definitely not candy. So we needed 2 T's. 2 T's is better than 1 T, dude. I like that. For my T series. Alright, so I'll run this simulation, listen to both of the artists at the same time. This used to be like Lava Turn, to try and turn around everything. But it's, I think Katie's actually much stronger. When I re-listen to her songs, I'm like, this is good, this is good, this is good, this is also good. It's still good, and it's still very good, and then very fucking good, and there's nothing I can complain about, so where am I gonna go, and where am I gonna run? If she's the one. They actually share the same personality, if you can fucking even imagine. Taylor Swift and Katy Perry share a person. Are you kidding me? No one will believe that. You have to have open eyes to be sad and then surprised at the same time. But why does she have narrow eyes? What the fuck is wrong with Taylor? Please, someone explain. Most definitely Taylor's Shake It Off is, and the most popular, is about breaking rules. Like, nothing different here. Popular kids, hi. I want to explore this concept. Are you allowed to actually use self-defense in the first place? Because like you're probably not allowed to do anything if you know too many rules. Oh no, you can't do anything against bullies. What am I gonna do? That is pretty painful. I'm not gonna lie, because from my point of view, no one gets in trouble. You know, if they happen to hurt me. Because I have to do all the work. I have to fucking put them in trouble. Back. And it's not like they got in trouble by attacking me. They just knew what else better to do. And they just showed up to be fucking retarded. So the question is, What is the most effective way to actually win this fight? Obviously in the long run, because you have to use every resource you have, and the biggest resource you have is time. Is it worth running away? Is it worth facing? Is it worth avoiding things? Yes, I mean, the first rule of every fight is just to avoid the fight to begin with. Learn how it's done. And don't tempt these people to fucking fight you in the first place. If they declare some kind of value, you know bullies don't actually have value. They just declare something that is not valuable at all anymore. That's what they do. So, and at the same time, they don't just come out there and actually start a fight either, because they know they will meet resistance immediately. It just makes all the common sense. They don't fucking break common sense either, and most people don't actually do that. Most people operate within common sense because it's like, what else are you gonna do moment? What else are you gonna come up with that would motivate you to do things otherwise? So breaking this down is probably the scariest thing, but it's very much important right now. It's like the craziest thing. After you beat up a bully, more bullies showed up. Now police becomes a bully, trying to fucking understand what happened, and whoever got hurt is gonna have the power, but is it really? You know, it's like you have to get hurt so badly to be able to win anything. And at the same time, like, who wants police? Who is friends with police? Only bullies. Only certain kinds of bullies too. The whole fucking world of balance is just out of whack completely. What would be the normal way to actually beat up bullies? Is to separate them from the group. Okay, and include other people in the group. You know, the true police is always around. You don't have to call them. They're always around to kind of back you up. The security guards, or just guards in general, who is supposed to watch over you and just see what's up, and especially bullies under radar have to be certainly watched over. It's a very simple thing. It's just a question, where are the honorable people trying to stop conflict? Not start it, stop it. Okay? There's no point for conflict. And should I prove it now that there is no point for conflict? I mean, life is pretty simple, but when things cross over, it can turn into a conflict. Cool. And then we test our powers in terms of which one gets defeated. It's a battle. So in other ways, I mean, if both people consent to a battle, if both people sign up for it, and they're ready for what's about to happen, because they kind of want this to happen. So that's usually what conflict means. You know, either they cross out and just pass over and nothing really happens, or certain conclusions are met and they unite the perspective And this is on purpose, pretty much. This whole thing is just a test. Okay? This is A and this is B outcomes of the test. Where nothing happens and no conflict happens. You know, it's... But now you kind of have to, like, play out the entire conversation with a bully, right? You have to test the conflict. They sign up for it, but why do they not care whether you sign up for it or not? What is signing up? Because everyone fucking defines signing up differently, right? So it's like, if you have fear, you sign up for conflict. Because that's what bully wants. Bully wants to see fear. Because they have crossed over, you know, over the gap of, I know how to deal with this emotion. So when they see fear, they kind of want to beat you up for it. It's a very simple thing. So actually being mindful will get you out of the situation, because there are a bunch of steps that you have to understand about conflict in general. So there is a point for conflict. Conflict happens all the time. It's just, I don't see people actually understanding properly what even is a conflict. They just let it happen randomly and hurt people randomly. And yes, now we get to learn lessons from the real life experience, but like, it just keeps happening, right? And in a way, that kind of gives us a clue that experience keeps happening. Observation needs funding. Oh no, science needs more money. Yeah, the biggest conflict I have, you can tell now for sure. I should be funded for talking about experience, and science should be punched in the face. And not because I'm a bully, but I just figured it out. So what would be the conflict between me and science? Alright. Let's go into a fucking conflict territory. We're gonna cross over and see what happens. How do we handle this whole dynamic? Me versus science. And first of all, me versus mom. My mom is cooking way too much food right now. I don't know when it's gonna stop. Please make it stop. It's a little bit extraordinary right now. Anyways. So, science does something obviously wrong now. And I figure out how to do it properly. So in a way, all that has to be done is we have to check our powers. You know, we have to arm wrestle in a way. And see who wins over. Based on just the pure power level of certain things. We have to find the base. We have to find how to compare those two things together. Once they clash, we have a little bit of time to figure it out and apply certain strategies until the final step. It's simply a competition because there is a conflict. We need to know who is actually better in the end with their principles. But we have to base our principles very, very clearly, but we have to define what science is, what I think I have beaten science with. It's simply a test of my claims. That's what a conflict also is about. It's just a test. No matter how much you have learned in life, you still have to go through tests. And that's fucking scary to me. Yeah. Have to test against old school. That's true. because old school remains. But one other thing is that there is a special little route called patience, where the conflict, you know, can get pretty tamed. Basically, just pull this conflict away from them, and if they keep chasing the conflict, they will definitely lose, because you keep on bending the rules until they're stretched out with how much effort they did. You can even pop the bubble and be like, oh, and run away. There's a lot of tricks you can do when it comes to patience. All of a sudden, bringing all the conflicts down quite a bit. That's what it is, I would say. If someone says, oh, you live in your mom's basement, just be patient. Just be like, yeah, and you live in an asshole, and you stink ass. That's what happens. Because if someone does not have influence on you, that's just useless, right? You don't need to even create a conflict unless both people agree. And agreement now becomes like a very interesting definition too. Someone has no influence on you. You can win with patience. Bullies are everywhere, alright? I could have won this fucking battle if I just sit through and I never ever let her come back in our home. Never, basically. Anyone fucking knocks on our door and I just have to say no to that. But holy shit, you have to go through patience in order to win this battle. I probably didn't have patience in this case, because there were so many of them doing the same exact thing, realizing that my mom is fucking generous and a nice person. She just follows too many rules, and now she gets to fucking get beaten up by bullies. But holy shit, you know, and those are some aggressive pieces of shit as well. Really aggressive. So I have to be patient with them, I think. Most of the time, when they want something else than just beat you up. And it's a tough position, right? Because when someone is actually building up muscle and building up their self-esteem in order to beat other people, they're probably missing a lot of other needs that they would otherwise have. And you can beat bullies like that some ways as well. It's like they potentially would want anyone to be nice to them, and they would just fucking be overly sensitive about it if that happens. Like, fuck me, dude. You probably can find their weaknesses better than I do. But right now I can do it pretty well, so fuck it. It's just I'm not looking for trouble, so I don't know. You can probably make it through, because I seen it, man. Like, yes, being I don't know, silent about it, overthinking doesn't really help. You kind of just want to show patience, meaning that you can actually handle the pressure. That's another thing. But patience is just handle it. And right now, potentially, I have to beat up a bigger bully because I wasn't patient. And if I continue to show non-patience, potentially I get into more trouble. But at the same time, do I give a fuck in the first place? If I get a bigger and bigger test, what happens then? It's like, is this something that discredits me? I don't think so. I don't give a fuck if something that tries to discredit me. It's always an attempt, no matter what you do, it's just an attempt to discredit me. But it's never possible, you know? It's just whatever people believe. They believe whatever they want to believe. But they don't care. They don't have influence on you. They don't want nothing in life. And so fuck those people. Fuck people on tier 1. who just, the best thing they do, they wake up and they act like zombies and like, I'm gonna attack everyone. Fuck it, you know, I'll have to draw dicks all over. So that's the way it looks like right now. That's the only thing they fucking do. Dick around. Being a dick's about it. I guess I can do like a spike. Angry spike boys. Like this. Because then you know where it's coming from. It's coming from losers. Whose the only influence is to beat you up, basically. Many ways over. Okay, there's many strategies, but they all come down to the same thing. They consent to the conflict, you don't consent to the conflict. Now, if the conflict ends up in someone dying, or if there's a high-risk conflict, someone consented to that too, which is fucking crazy. You have to run away from people like this. You just have to. You just have to use the ultimate thing of patience. And again, that's the shield. We learn another wonderful thing about the world of shields. Is that patience. The greatest resource that you have is usually the one that you can throw out. But don't make them like it, you know. Don't give a resource that they like. Never give something that they like. Never throw candy at them if they actually like it. When a bully shows up and you give them candy, it's a very humbling experience for the bully. Because it's like, well, I like candy, but I hate when I'm trying to beat someone up and they're giving me good stuff. And it's like, that's probably a good fucking way to get out of the situation. And it just gives you more than you're actually losing. That's the real way to win a situation. Best way to win anything is to win more than you lose. It's absolutely the most simplest way to put it, and I think it deserves a star. I think a lot of things now deserve a star, but I kind of forgot to add it right now. Just kind of forgot about it. Anyways, solved it. It feels good. Congratulations. And fuck you for whoever is not solving problems right now in the world. You know, and doesn't have influence. That's pretty good. Now I spit in your face. Even PewDiePie does not have influence. Can you imagine? The YouTubers are just only attackers. The YouTube itself does not have enough principles to actually propel itself onto the next tier just yet, and who knows if it's going to be called YouTube when it does happen. You know, it's almost like back in the day we used cartridges to play games. Well, that is ancient technology. We needed physical technology to play games. That is fucking stupid. Physical media. Now, we transcended. And that's why gaming generation is right here. I'll just G+ on this one. It's a little bit gamier that way. Anyways. So the same way YouTube can actually transcend, where you feel a lot of pressure to make YouTube videos, for sure. First of all. But there's no like pressure, and there's no pressure to actually get anywhere with it. You know, you just do it because you have to do it, pretty much. It's just the most fun thing to do. And it's almost like a job that you can do. And you can get rewarded for it, eventually, and see and express yourself. You can do all these things all of a sudden. Because it's just slightly easier and more compelling. So just like games have transcended just a little bit more to make it easier and more compelling to just press a few keys and you downloaded a game and you can play it. The same way YouTube is just upload a video and don't worry about it. You know, there might actually be editors that run around and remix your video, and you can confirm that you like the remix, and you would be like so fucking glad that you uploaded a video, not that it got remixed, okay, or re-edited or something, or because and the more popular you become, the more access to editing you will get, right? It's going to be edited in various ways, and there's more and more technology to help editors as well, but it comes from like a higher level as well. It's almost like a legacy of gaming, how you edit things, but gaming itself has its own problems, the same way YouTube does, because gaming has to go to next tier, but they have to figure out how to make better engines all the time. It's the same problem over and over again. How do we make better engines? Sometimes, you know, it's a weird solution. So in a previous case, it was just get rid of physical stuff and allow people to share things through the internet. But there's no guarantee that there's going to be another internet thing happening. Well, there is. You know, now you have to get a special website, like YouTube has a special website for videos. You have to make a truly special website for games. There are such things, but it's like, now the problem is that games don't actually travel from PC, from different platforms. They don't quite travel yet all the way into your phone. What's that all about? Why do games have to travel in the first place? Why can't there just be access to the cloud for everyone? You know, maybe that's even a lot easier to do, and companies who make games would just open up their cloud service too at the same time. So to let people, a certain amount of people, maybe play it for free as well. I don't know. They can set up crazy rules too. Who gets to access the game instead of just buying it? But at the same time, it's like, it's a complicated thing. It's really complicated. I don't even want to think about it. I think for me, YouTube is like closer to what I can handle personally. But at the same time, because there's a 15-year period when these guys shift, and there's a 7-year period when I shift and everyone else shifts in tier list. That gets out of sync, and like I would have to leave YouTube CEO ranked for a bigger rank even, which is crazy. I would have to leave at some point. But it's also completely normal, because if you have learned something, you can teach someone else to do it. It's just totally normal, I would say. Oh, look, silly me. I just created a special place 5 days ago. Turns out this specific date is Taylor Swift's birthday. That's pretty fucking creepy. Now I'm scared, man. Like, okay. Magic trick. Beyond the odds of ever happening like that. And and that's the last video that I watched about Taylor Swift as well. The last video I watched is, oh, she's celebrating 31st birthday. Oh yeah, December 13th, that's pretty cool. Oh wait, that's exactly the fucking day right now when I opened her cafe. This is freaking me out right now. Because it doesn't have anything, like, beyond that. Besides the fact that Taylor is locked in, like, super hardcore. Locked into the lore of my Discord channel now. There's no escape. It happened. It's actually the first celebrity's birthday that I gave a fuck about. Otherwise, I don't celebrate or know any of their birthdays, and it happens to be magically linked somehow. Like, the odds are insane. These are not the odds, because I keep stacking 2 more things, right? The last video I watched was Taylor saying her birthday date. This was the first I have ever learned from a celebrity. The odds are against anything I can imagine right now. So, I'll just explosions, okay? It keeps exploding, dude. I want to see like a deeper meaning, but I guess the deeper meaning is inside my heart. Is inside the really, really restless phase that I'm kind of in because of how stress is stacking against me as well, and how I would love to progress some of the work that I'm doing, but I kind of delay it because my future is unclear now, and I'm restless, and my freedom has been stolen pretty much, just because it has been declared to be stolen for the future, just for a few bucks, man, just for someone fucking breaking a leg and have to sit in the hospital for 3 months. That's crazy, dude. Wow. But then I have to sit in the hospital for 5 months. I didn't break myself, breaking someone else by accident. So I'm not sure why, you know. It's not like people are being reasonable. They're not being reasonable. They just don't give a fuck so badly that they're going into the negative levels of not giving a fuck. You know, like stealing shit from other people is just theft over and over again when it comes to just not giving a fuck to a ridiculous degree. And that's potentially what we need to think about a little bit. The problem of care. Why people don't care so much that it actually hurts everyone. I don't think this is even a question, just have to give it up as it is. So, people are just mindless now. They're mindless idiots. Technology does not help at all. When we have a responsibility to interact with people, go outside, interact, learn things, ask questions, we open ourselves for care to some degree to learn that thing. And yeah, technology almost like does that thing where we can hide ourselves. I didn't learn how to hide though, because I'm like sitting here and I'm solving problems. I'm still finding problems. Boredom is like the greatest problem of them all. Boredom. But at some point it starts leaking out and saying that, well, a lot of people don't care. That's why we're bored. It's not the ones who are creating content, it's the ones who just don't quite even exist around me at all. They could, but they don't want to. You don't care enough to exist. And it's this kind of thing that kind of kills people very quickly, I would say. And that's why it hurts. If you don't care, it doesn't matter how good your life is. It has very strict boundaries. You step out of those boundaries, and your life doesn't quite matter that much anymore. You have to care to be able to actually extend your boundaries of life. Not even your comfort zone. But technically, yes. Technically, yes. You come here and you care. That means you're slowly gonna get more comfortable. But if you... but that's the whole point. Do you want to extend your comfort zone? To have more opportunities in life? I think people feel they're rich. Nothing bad is ever gonna happen. That's the one, man. And they don't need to help other people. That's bullshit. That's not gonna help you, right? Well, you might want to help yourself. I'm just saying, because the world is gonna get so much worse if you don't care. Care is just... it's about at least being curious. Being annoying is nothing. Nothing terrible. Being bad is not bad. Which is crazy. That's what it is. Being bad is not quite as bad as you think. Because it's all about being... clumsy, inadequate, something like that. I don't think inadequate. I don't think I will ever use this word, but here it is. It's all about just not being good enough to not make a mess. But it's like the mess is out there. It's you always generating the base problem experience. Nothing tremendous. Nothing that people should fucking freak over about. Most importantly, I said it's about being mindless, right? People don't know what to care about anymore. There's so many points of views that you can adopt, that you kind of just take care of yourself to some degree, and that's like, okay, yeah, that's fine. But then you don't actually take care of yourself at some point. Because you don't know... yeah, you don't have problems, pretty much. You don't feel problems. You don't feel problematic. I think people are even deeper than I was. By all means, where it's just... what you need is like solved. But then you should realize you're not quite interacting with the real world anymore. After you solved all your problems. You're not interacting. You just completely separated yourself as a pathway that just has nothing to do with other human beings besides maybe giving them products through your business or whatever. Maybe doing some kind of work is gonna connect you, but it's more like you plug yourself into the system of social help, but not necessarily. It's still quite separated, I would say, and it's also quite strict and painful to do work that's demanding and not actually rewarding. It should be both things, which is low demand and decent reward. Nothing should be extreme in that sense. It should feel rewarding. It shouldn't just be straight up rewarding. And it shouldn't be straight up demanding. But it's people are so fucking lazy and careless, they just pushing that fucking narrative instead. Let's raise minimum wage and let's make fucking work unbearably difficult. And demanding, just the stupidest thing. You want to destroy your country, that's fine. I get it. I get why you would want to destroy your country, because you don't give a fuck. You know, and there's so many people to give a fuck about. And when you don't give a fuck, well, it's all of a sudden, it should slip through your fingers, and you should want to kill your country, pretty much. While the country has to flee, because you're inadequate now. And that's a completely different thing when a tier 4 person becomes inadequate. That crashes down. The stonks crash, boys. And really flood a lot of problems. Because that's what it is all about, right? Whenever you level up in a tier list, you pretty much take a bag of problems from tier 1 to yourself back here, where problems are kind of getting solved 4 times, maybe 10 times faster. And you can replicate and you can grab bags now of problems and you're gonna get rewarded, traded in that stuff. You give solutions and you take problems. That's the whole trade, right? You make people feel like you've achieved something. You make promises of the new thing. So that's what makes you, you know, kind of more successful than other people. You're actually capable of doing this process and not just ignoring others. But this is why when you come from tier 4, you have all these solutions, but if you shut it down, it all gets dumped down as well on just base tier for people to deal with, or just somewhere a little lower, who knows. It all gets spread out. And it's a constant regeneration of problems, I would say. Pretty interesting. You do need to know what to care about. Even I get stuck with bullshit. But at least I'm attached to something. I feel good about it, you know. I'm gonna keep digging deeper into YouTube, because that's the thing. That's the generation right now. If you are not keeping up with the generation, that's the newest generation, what it's trying to do. It's 10 years already of this thing. And I probably kept up from the very beginning, just like I kept up with Minecraft too. Now Minecraft, not sure what it belongs, because it almost like belongs in YouTube entirely. It almost belongs to our generation, the YouTube generation, the tier 1. Simply because, yes, it's a game, but it's probably like the best game that everyone should know about, because they have to learn it, how it works and all that shit. It's pretty good. Everyone should play it. Everyone should have it a part of their life to have some Minecraft in there injected. That's cool. And then we're gonna be waiting for more those kind of games, pretty much. But not. I'm still not sure what exactly Minecraft brings. It probably gives a vague idea of what we would like to see. but not quite. Because, like, you would immediately dump Minecraft and just go do some adventuring, rather. Or you want to... I mean, the Minecraft actual core experience is quite overexplored already many times. It probably takes 100 hours at most to get bored entirely, but it did force people to kind of look at it creatively. It forced people to look at it non-competitively too. It's just for fun. It's a single player experience. It's pretty deep when it comes to that, I would say. So it's pretty important. Now, did we solve this? I don't think so. But I want to just chill in the inn and try and figure out what I feel problematic still. Yeah, people not caring, people just giving up. It's a lame thing. People not working on themselves, for themselves, just for money. That's not for yourself. You're not working for yourself when you work for money. That is a terrifying thing. And then you want to spend that money. That's also terrifying. Money actually gives you power to make friends and all that. Make more connections, open up the world for you. Instead, you close the world by dragging the world into your fucking comfort zone because you're so exhausted. You're so destroyed by life. Well, good job, I guess. You found a really good job. Wow, how nice. You work for money, not yourself, and drag and buy the world. So you could have it. So you can have a piece of the world inside your comfort zone. Flashing you. Like, oh look, so cool, isn't it? Wow. People buying pets? Disgusting to me. It's absolutely disgusting. Because that's like a fake friend. It's the fakest fucking shit I've ever seen, dude. It's literally a way to kill yourself. It's the craziest way to kill yourself. It's just to pretend that you just need money and you're gonna buy whatever you need from the world. The rest of the problems. Well, you started from the very wrong moment. The very first move was entirely wrong. And you could do so much better with this. I don't think even questioning, like, why would people do this? It's just free will. They have a chance to learn. Otherwise, they have a chance to listen. Everyone has a chance to slow the fuck down and appreciate their surroundings a little bit more. Or they have a chance to completely ignore it and pretend that they can solve everything on their own. I didn't pretend that I can solve everything on my own. I have to pretend that I have friends and money and all those things, basically. I have to pretend now because the world is so terrible that it makes me unique. I don't say that my way of life is something you have to follow. I'm just saying my concerns. And I hope I'll figure out better and better solutions each time now that I see it and talk about it. And it makes me restless because it's fucking stupid, but hey. Not much I can do. I just have to sit with all my stress and think about all those things over and over again. Because it's almost like, well, my time is running out. I will not be free for a long time. And I will need to upset a lot of people too. And dig deep into their cores. And hurt them deeply. So they fucking realize that they don't actually care, and they got exposed. That's pretty important, right? For us, people who care, we need to expose and shame those who don't care. Now, supporting some kind of movements, that's not care. You don't just go protest about something. You need to learn how to claim your personal voice, and how to again claim your personal anarchy. It's the same thing, the same problem that I just discussed. You can't just create a protest just like you cannot create an anarchy by demanding it, by rounding a bunch of people up, and it's like, well, this is a protest. Look at all of these people that want something. Because not everyone is smart. Not everyone has the same opinion. Just because you have rounded up people to pretend that you have the same opinion, you will go on your separate ways and live your separate lives as if, all you really wanted is to be a part of a group for a minute. And that's it. It's a hard thing to understand, but when it comes to change, you will be a suspect of making a weird change in your life. Just like demanding an anarchy is demanding for a big change that is not necessarily sensible, because big changes need big reasons. You just have to find within yourself little things that you need. Definitely push those forward as a demand, and your protest never ends. Protests are for people who never protest. They never do it. They never disagree. They just want to protest to be a part of, like, oh, what is this? This thing that I've never experienced and will never experience in my life. It's for losers, basically. Because if you truly protest, again, you shove the protest into your life in general, right? You protest every day against someone you disagree. All the time, you keep bullies busy, basically. That's what's up. You keep bad people busy. They generate experience, well, they should regurgitate that experience a few times until it's purified. They should think about it, not you. I shouldn't think about all the bad things that are happening in the world. I should think positively, because I'm not a bad person. I can be always misjudged, and I can be always attacked. And that's just my a very important position to figure out how to defend myself from this bullshit. So do I have any more concerns? I'll sit in the inn and figure it out. Now I have tremendous respect for no fucking reason, just because Taylor Swift's birthday. What the hell, dude? I don't even like your newest albums, Taylor. Fuck this shit. That all the way down to Lover, okay? No. Reputation is the one for me, man. Forever. And imagine me punching Jewel in the face. Or Jewel, okay, that's how I'll call her. So she doesn't get quite punched in the face. She always wears a mask. Very simple. Very simple. Yeah, that's about it. I can just double check what I did. I think I'm closing off this video too. It will never end because I want it to be perfect. But that's the highest tier list. It exists. Perfection. It exists. Because perfection is actually, you know, most things in life are good. So you just, if you never fail in life, if you start a non-failing streak, it becomes really intense thing, I would say. Just unstoppable force. So, gotta keep that magic going, man. I don't know, man. It really throws me back to know that something magical has happened right now. I wonder if I can actually squeeze the magic out of this thing. Can't wait. No, I'll definitely keep the video in case something happens. But I'm probably just gonna sit here for an hour anyways. So yeah, we talked about anarchy mostly. We talked about the problems. One thing that I wanted to touch more of is like, how do we treat the popular people who actually conform to a lot of rules? Or no, they break a lot of rules. Of course, if you conform, you're gonna become normal. If you break rules, then you become a celebrity. But that's a really deep question, I would say. It makes sense, but it's so deep for the people that I follow right now. You know, like this. Whoa. Breaking rules? Aren't you just like following a bunch of rules in order to become a celebrity? There is no, blueprint for that shit. You actually have to break so many rules that people are just so offended that they have to like remind you of their rules. But you just keep standing out because you don't care. Just keep standing out. Now the problem is how much luck has to do with this, and how much breaking the rules actually purifies your ability to become famous. What we do need to like pretty much talk about it, but fame is potentially even deeper than just being popular. So even that's, I shouldn't just jump right in and pretend that I know something. If you want to be famous, you potentially find very, very valuable rules to follow, while breaking most of the useless ones to set yourself free, to set yourself up for success, to set yourself up to be able to do a lot of work with passion. And fame, yeah, it's way harder than just being popular. Way harder. So I think that's fine. I think we can close this chapter. Happy birthday, I guess. Fuck you, man. Jesus Christ.